podcast is about as well. Even though
Yeah.
we've all had struggles this week, it's beautiful because we're actually teaching people that, different methods, like you said, it's a different way that you're viewing things. Like a few years back, you would have got angry about that and behaved in a different manner. But the
Mm.
growth in you now is different to where it was beforehand. And that is a beauty, you know.
Mm, mm,
Well
yeah.
done. I'm proud of you, Lucas. I'm proud
Yeah.
of
So,
you, Marcus. We are
uh,
remarkable people.
Yeah,
yeah,
I
yeah.
agree with it.
Well, so you can say, Lucas, you have, as a human being, you have developed yourself to the point where you can encounter situations like the one you've just been through or going through, but without exploding, just as an example,
Um,
and getting erratic.
no, I'm not sure it was ever that. It was the biggest thing that I used to find about myself was that whenever I would go through a challenge or something that kind of shook the foundation of what I wanted to do, or a big setback, it would lead to um, a deep, long suffering, like a very internal suffering.
Hmm.
And so there would be this very long phase of like, what's the word for it?
Grievance
Maybe
almost,
like
or
yeah, like a
Self-blame,
lot of self-guilt, self-blame,
not feeling that you're
reflecting,
worthy of it, and that's why it happened.
and there's those things as well. But
Mm.
what I noticed is that from the start of the issue or the problem or the challenge or whatever it was, it used to take quite a bit longer as a process because of the impact it would have on me, um, emotionally, psychologically, things of those sorts.
Mm.
But now, as I've learned how to stay calm over the years, I've developed a sense of how to almost compartmentalize things so that I can continue uh, with what I need to do to function in a healthy manner. And then I can decide when I want to take time to start to focus on things or unravel things and things of those sorts. Um, it's quite interesting when I reached the point where I felt that I was in control of my emotions rather than my emotions being in control of me.
mm,
And that was one of the greatest points that I felt my recovery was reaching new heights, so to
yes,
speak.
Mm. Mm.
yeah, I can relate to that. Sorry, Lucas, Karen.
No, no, I'm just rambling now. Sorry. Please go ahead.
It,
Yeah,
it's,
for
it's,
me,
it's
sorry, Jen.
no, Marcus. I was just saying it's remarkable. It's lovely to hear. Mm.
Yeah,
Carry
it's
on.
similar to Lucas' journey. For me, it has also been about uh, almost stepping outside my emotions, not being my emotions, and recognizing when I'm starting to bubble up on the inside. Um, I think it's that ego thing again, as I mentioned the other week, that is charging you with negative emotions. And so, for example, more than 10 years ago, if I was encountering something really challenging, I would almost instantly bubble up and become very erratic and perhaps make wrong decisions, because obviously my behaviors, my decision making was erratic. But now I've learned finally that I may still sometimes feel frustrated, but I recognize it. And because I recognize such an emotion, such as frustration, irritation, etc., being overwhelmed, I recognize it. Because I recognize it, I can now step outside of it. I may still feel the emotion, but I don't act upon it, meaning that the emotion may still be there, but I don't identify myself with the emotion, which means that I can stay grounded and respond from a rational point of view, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah.
But
I think with myself, it's that, I can so relate to what you're both saying. For me, it was that kind of like almost uncontrollable urge and feeling of, when something went wrong, that it was like almost strangling me inside. So it
yes,
was like the way that I dealt with it was kind of like very negative, very explosive. Instead, now
yeah,
I will take a step back and I'd look at the situation. And sometimes, even if I look at the situation and the decisions I want to make are the same, the angle of the decisions that I make are a bit different. I have to analyze, is this right for me? What is right for me? How do I deal with that? Am I still going to make that same decision, but am I going to use it and make that decision in a erratic behavior, or I'm going to make it a decision which is best for me in a calm, strong manner? And that's where things have changed for me. I'm beginning to know what is best for me, and it doesn't always tally up what other people think is best for me. And it's like, kind of like owning that and saying, right, I know this is best for me. It may not feel right for you. It may feel uncomfortable because you don't understand what I actually need at that moment. But believe me, this is best for me. And taking ownership in that in a very calm, but also very strong position, that I know this will work for me. This is best for me at this moment. And it's about, like you're saying, both of you are saying, about owning our behaviors, owning our decisions. And our decisions only can be owned by the way that we need to kind of like
yes.
develop at that time.
It must come from our rational
Mm.
side. And of course, when we are fueled on negative emotions, then the irrational side of us, or the irrational side of the brain, takes over. And if we go with the flow, then the outcome is usually always will always be worse than it originally was. It will escalate from there. So it's so important to learn that. I think it's a learning curve. I think it takes time to learn that, not to go with the flow of your negative emotion. To step back, as you said, to step outside and look in from a different perspective. But it takes training. You have to train yourself to reach that level where you are able to do that. And as I said earlier, the emotions may still be there, but you're not controlled by them. You can step outside and say, okay, there's the emotion. It's very unpleasant right now. The situation is very unpleasant, but I recognize that not so good feeling. That not so good feeling is not really me, but it's there. And I'm not going to make any actions right now while I'm feeling like this. And just wait for the dust to settle. But recognizing it in the first place, that's the key.
And it's putting boundaries around yourself as well, knowing that, hold on a minute, I'm not feeling very rational because everything is just over the top and then my head's spinning. So you
Yeah,
boundary around yourself saying, right, I can't make decisions at this very moment, but when I do, and I've thought about it, then, those are my decisions, and those are my decisions from what I need at that moment. But when you kind of like go there,
yeah.
like, kind of like, oh, I need to do it now when it's erratic. It doesn't it really doesn't work out. And
No.
and we and sometimes it's good. Sometimes it's also like a milkshake, when you kind of like stir it up and things like that, mix all the mixture together. Sometimes it's good to have that, because if you kind of like have this one mode of emotion, how on earth are we going to kind of like relate to other people? And that motion is there for a reason. That motion is to kind of like really find that thread of where it's coming from, to deal with it. We're not
Yes.
we're not machines. We're human beings with all these emotions from either from our past, from which is bringing into the future. But sometimes it's good to say, hold on a minute, I'm going to look at this emotion. Where's it coming from? Why is it coming up? And
Yes.
another thing that sometimes we have to work on ourselves. So those emotions are also lessons on when we need to work on something for ourselves as well.
Totally, yeah. They almost like messages
Mm.
or alarm bells going off telling you, okay, now you have to be careful, otherwise you are going down the wrong route here. So sometimes we have to embrace those unpleasant emotions as well. Yeah.
Mm.
And yeah, and recognizing them. I heard a really good quote the other day. It's very politically incorrect, but no one is, how do you go again? It's something about being insane. As long as the person knows he's insane, he's not completely insane.
Yeah.
One is only one is only insane if he doesn't know it. So as long as, in my case, as long as I know I'm insane, I'm not completely insane. And that's the same with what I felt today. I felt really overwhelmed because of my accountant and all of that, and I could feel the frustration building up. But I knew it was building up. I recognized it, so I didn't lose control. Yeah.
Mm. 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 That's lovely.
Yeah.